Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us here tonight. Tonight, I'm bringing you a new young artist. She is a graphic designer by day and artist by night. Welcome.
Hello.
Lilia, would you introduce yourself and who you are, where you're from, all that good?
Yeah, sure. My name is Lilia Shabande. I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I went to OU in 2012, and I lived in Norman till literally like 3 weeks ago. I just moved to OKC, and I've had my a little creative freelance graphic design business since 2016. Um, and I also got went to grad school in 2016 or 2017, sorry, and I got my master's of legal studies in Indigenous Peoples Law. And I basically ever since then have tried to create this intersection between um, being an artist and also being purposeful with that within my tribe and of the sort. So last year was kind of like my deciding point of that. And this past year, I decided that I was going to take my art career a little bit more casually than I have been, which is why I'm here today doing this art show. And I had my first art show in April at the Oklahoma Visual Arts Coalition. I was a 30 under 30 artist. But since February, I've been the marketing and membership coordinator for the Oklahoma Safety Council. That basically entails doing all of our creative content that goes out on social media, through emailing, things like that. So, and that's more work that's like more art for work. And then I also have my Instagram that's more of like my personal art, and that's more art for me, from me, that represents me personally. And then, yeah, so that's basically it.
In a nutshell, right? Okay. So,
But
what is
we'll talk about
what
to me,
is your
sorry.
particular type of art that you produce, Lilia?
Um, let's see. I don't know because I've never felt like I've had like a focus. I pretty much like logos and typography. That's kind of been my thing since I was a kid. My first like art experience that I had was in elementary school, and our art teacher kind of threw up some logos and was just kind of like, "Hey, you guys, do you see anything, any hidden messages in these logos?" And I remember looking at the FedEx logo and like seeing a little arrow, and that just
Mm-hmm.
like it just like struck a chord in me, and I was like, oh my god. And so I like drew that logo over and over again. I probably drew that FedEx logo like a million times because I was just so obsessed with it, and I like each time I was just like just as surprised and just so happy about it. So like just that symbolism kind of thing really like stuck with me, and the little hidden messages, and that's what kind of started that whole marketing kind of thing for me. And then you know I would just do stuff. And then during that age, that was when MySpace was a thing. So I really got into, making different layouts for friends, and like really, and Photoshop was like $1,000 that time, and I was like
Yeah,
13 years old.
I
So
remember
there's,
that.
yeah, so I was literally making like emails every month to get the 30-day free trial, like every month, so I could use Photoshop. I probably did that for like a year, just so I could use Photoshop, and I loved it. I loved it, and so that kind of just went with me. I did art. I did AP art in high school, and then when I got to college, I kind of wanted to leave that open because I wasn't really sure. I had an interest in a lot of things, and I wasn't necessarily just trying to like go to art school, but I wasn't necessarily trying to do like something specific. So I kind of got something that um, let me go a non-traditional way of my art career. So yeah, that
I was just going to
question.
see if I could find some of the images I had for you and share some of them
Okay.
here on our screen. But while we're doing that, so you're originally from Tulsa,
Mm-hmm.
is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You were telling me earlier that one of the first logos you did was for a group that actually has some members here in Tulsa.
Mm-hmm.
Or so, why don't you tell everybody the story of what that group is? Maybe a little bit about what they do too, because that might be of interest to people here.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So
How you do the logo?
yeah, so I am a part of a group called Matriarch. It's an Indigenous-led, women's Indigenous-led group that basically just created a space for Indigenous women in Oklahoma to come together um, and really learn from each other and grow. And it's something that, it's not like these kinds of groups were around when my mom, was kind of growing up at my age and things like that. So we're kind of all over the place. The age is like, there's no age limit, no age minimum. People bring their kids. It's just kind of a big community where we've gone together and really shared experiences with each other of how it's been being a Native woman in Oklahoma. And I'm very thankful for all the opportunities I've had with them. When I joined 2 years ago, they were needing logo and branding and to really concrete their group. And I volunteered and I was like, hey, you tell me what you want and I'll do it, So I, got together with them and I ended up doing, their logo, which is what they use on everything. And I've done their website for them. And that's pretty much led me to a lot of opportunities that I've had. I also have had a lot of opportunities for my tribe, the Chickasaw Nation. After I was a legal intern there twice. And after my second time, I was contracted to brand our conference that basically brought together all peoples who are involved with jurisdiction and combating domestic violence. There's a law called the Violence Against Women's Act. And basically all tribes who enact that law have to put on a conference to create this dialogue between tribal state, anyone, social workers, police officers, grassroots workers, anyone who is basically on the front lines of combating domestic violence. And I was able to put this conference on at the WinStar 2018. Yeah, November 2018. And that was pretty much like where I had found that intersection between art and direct action type stuff. So,
well, it seems as if you have a passion for law as much as you do your art.
For sure, yeah.
Well, I am going to share some of your pictures here.
Okay.
And let me bring those up. And why don't you tell us a little bit about these pieces?
Okay.
So.
Yeah, so this is so I basically had like two types of logos that I had made for Matriarch. One was a little bit more simpler and minimalistic, one that can easily be put on like business cards, very like flat design. And this one is the first one that I had made. And this one took about like, I'd say a week or so to make. Just because I really marinated on this idea. This is like kind of the vision I had, but it's not necessarily a logo. It's more along the lines of art. And so this has kind of been more, we've been thinking about putting it on t-shirts and more just kind of, or like a poster kind of thing, just to represent it.
I didn't even realize this was a logo. I just thought it was a beautiful piece of art.
Yeah. So this is what I first made. And I took like, I really like, took my time with this one. And then once we kind of realized we needed something a little bit more cleaner and a little bit more like simplistic for a logo that typically looks like a logo, the one that I made for our logo, I literally made in like probably like 20 minutes. I literally just like was like, you know what, I literally took this and then just simplified it and really just took the shapes of like the mother and then the two children's heads and like put that together in like just kind of like a line drawing in about 10 minutes. And then they were like, all right, that's it. That's what we want. So, but we loved this one so much that this is like more of like a detailed version of that logo. So yeah, and this is like the vision that I had, they basically told me, we just want something like this, but yeah, so I really like this piece a lot. So
yeah, I think that's one that is definitely a piece of art. I am going to bring the other piece real quick that I have here handy. And tell us about this one.
Yeah, so this is actually the piece that I had in the Momentum show in April. This is the one that I represented me, and this is actually part of an Inktober challenge. Inktober is this thing that artists partake in every October, and it's like you literally do a drawing every single day, which for me that is not realistic. That is like such like I don't know. I've tried for the past 3 years, and every year I go longer, but I go maybe like halfway, and then like it just like I can't keep up with it. But I try. That's like all that matters to me. But
Now,
this was
do they have
actually
different, Lilia, do they
yes,
have different prompts every day?
yeah. So
Inktober?
every day there's a new word, and like you basically just take that word and you do like whatever you want with it. And for this word, it was hero. And she immediately just came to my mind. This is Tayada. She's a Chickasaw storyteller. A
Yes,
movie about
yes.
her recently came out a few years ago, and
Mm-hmm.
I've been wanting to make some art of her for a while, but she fit perfectly into that prompt. And you know, that like this piece I did pretty quick because during the October challenge I was trying to be as diligent as I can, but did still want to take my time with things. But yeah, so this was one of the pieces from that challenge. Um, and
Well,
yeah,
I think you did a wonderful job
thank
with
you.
that. And I think that would be something I'd be happy hanging on my wall, the
That's
truth. And then maybe have
awesome.
Greg make the jewelry, her breastplate, her gorget.
Yeah, yeah, that would be cool. Mhm.
Yeah. So, do you have any project working on right now, Lilia?
Yeah, so for work where I'm like the conference event planner, so I've been mainly working on turning our event virtual. So that's been taking up the majority of my time. But that's work stuff. And then for
How
more
about the
like
art?
yeah, commission stuff, I right now I'm working on two logos. And then I've done this past week I did a portrait. I had
Oh,
recently
okay.
yeah, I recently uh, found someone on Twitter who I follow who was just kind of like, hey, I'm looking for anyone. Can anyone do like commission? I was, I barely ever like say no to anything. So I was like, what, I'm going to message her and I'm going to see, what she says. And she was like, yeah, that would be awesome. And I like showed her because this past Christmas, I did about like 5 portrait commissions. I just kind of did like kind of this family. It's probably what I'm going to do tomorrow, but kind of just
Mhm.
like family portrait styles, like kind of floating heads, and some of them had dogs and stuff. So I did that this week, which was really fun. But
So, right now is actually a good time for people to get commissions done because some people don't realize how long it actually takes you to work on a project,
right.
and they might contact you after Thanksgiving for,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have too many orders after Thanksgiving, and so now would be a good time for people to contact you. What's the best
Yeah.
way for them to contact you?
Yeah. So my website is alilcreative.com. My name is Lilia, but I've always gone by Lil by family and friends, and then it just kind of came to me one day, a little creative. So yeah, lilcreative.com.
Okay, and we've got that in the comments for anybody who needs that link. Your website and your Facebook page are both in the comments,
Mm-hmm.
and so anybody can contact you there.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think what else. So you've got that. You doing the special orders and commissions. You'll have a few pieces. You'll be here tomorrow on our show, won't you?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
And you'll have a few pieces available for sale tomorrow.
Probably. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, we hope you do
Yeah.
because I know some people who already want to buy your stuff. So,
Okay. Sweet.
but the comments are fine. They loved your Tayata drawing, and
Sweet.
it's just perfect. So, for those who don't know, do you draw by hand or how do you prefer what's your preferred medium or
Um.
media, I should say?
So back in 2016, Apple released these iPads that pretty much were tablets, drawing tablets. They came out with the Apple Pencil, and I got my hands on one of those, and that's pretty much been my foundation of everything that I do. And I can't see myself working in any other medium just because it's really forgiving. But I have done actual, worked with paint as well. But for the most part, all of my stuff is done hand drawing on an iPad. So
So
yeah.
that brings up another point. We were talking about this earlier. You said you're not a classically trained artist or
Mm-hmm.
don't have an art degree.
Mm-hmm.
And so how did you get started in this, making art?
I don't really know. I've always just had creative tendencies since I was a kid. And, I've always been just the doodler. And, my mom's always been like, oh, she's the creative one and all this stuff. Because, my older brother is a doctor, my younger brother's an engineer. And so their, paths seem kind of clear. But mine was always just like, I don't know what I want to do, but I want to do everything. There's nothing that I almost like don't want to do. Um, and then I did AP art in high school. And so that's ultimately where it came from. And I was also the editor of our yearbook. And so that's kind of where the graphic design came into play. Um, but yeah, I mean, I've always loved art. I love music. A lot of art that I have on my Instagram is usually music lyrics. Really, I like words, like
Okay,
drawing.
I do remember seeing you doing some word
Mhm.
art.
Yeah, typography is kind of like where I really like, I'm not that great of a painter. I really like fonts and studying fonts and things like that. Back to like the FedEx logo type thing. Just kind of symbolisms, like looking more like that stuff as a symbol, because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it's important. And, I think for us, um, when Native people use their own traditional symbols on their art and things like that, that's kind of like what I feel like I make for other people. It's like I'm making their symbol, I'm making their, what represents them, when I make logos and brandings and things like that. So I try to really get the story behind it first, and then I kind of let the vision kind of just like come to me, and that's kind of the way that I go about it. I really have to marinate on stuff, but I really like some of the brandings I've been come up with. So yeah.
Well, it sounds as if your art is intertwined with your work and all your passions align together, which is a really good place to be. Let me see.
Mm-hmm.
Got a question. Jules says she knows you're not Cherokee, but have you ever thought about doing a commission with the syllabary, the Cherokee syllabary?
Uh, I have not. No, I didn't know. I mean, I
Because that is very much
would.
so. That is very much art in of itself. Are you familiar with the syllabary?
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you look at the characters that he, um, basically Sequoia or George Guess, took these characters inspiration from other types of writing systems and tweaked them and changed them a little bit so that each character stands for a syllable in the Cherokee language,
Mm-hmm.
which is why it's called a syllabary and not an alphabet. But
Right.
that's the linguist in me going off on a tangent. So,
Yeah, that's.
but yeah, the syllabary would be. I could definitely see some beautiful art with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
It's
like
a
that. Yeah.
challenge for you.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, like bringing like letters to life and like giving them characters, like, you know, like that's why I like fonts so much, is because, fonts speak more than just, being letters and stuff like that. So,
They really do set the tone for what you're going to immerse yourself in when you approach a brand or a conference or anything like that.
mm-hmm.
When you see that font, that's
Mm-hmm.
what you have a good branding person, and sounds like you're good at that too.
I try, yeah.
Well, I do want to let everybody know that who was watching that we are having our lunch show tomorrow with all we'll have about 7 artists on here tomorrow. A lot of young, inspiring artists who are, up and coming artists in the Native American world. And we want you to join us 1:30 Central Time, Oklahoma time. We'll be on the Oklahoma Indian Festival Facebook page. You'll probably find it in the events and other places. And we invite you to come watch, like, share, and support these artists and keep culture alive. Because that's what we're really here for. It's to expand the culture and share the culture. So we
Mhm.
hope that you can join us tomorrow. 1:30 Central Time. Go ahead. Be sure to like Lilia's Facebook page, business Facebook page. It's in the comments. Be sure to like and follow Oklahoma Indian Festival and to get the updates. And mark yourself as going tomorrow so that you get the notification when we go live. So I want to bring Lilia back on for just a brief second. And let's see, where are you, Lilia? There we go.
Okay, cool.
So, and so is if you had anything to say, one last question to an aspiring artist, a young person, what would you say, Lilia?
I think really, it's about being confident in yourself and trusting yourself that you don't need any external validation in regards to making anything, as long as you're making it it's coming from a good place. I think that, it can be whatever you want. That's kind of like what I did. I kind of envision my art career in some way, but it's not really like that. I take it day by day. It's an identity that I'm slowly, adapting to, I guess. But it's one that, I like to nurture and be patient with. So being patient and practicing too, and being consistent, I think is really good. And yeah, that's pretty much all I can
Don't
think.
be afraid. I would probably add, we were talking about this earlier, because you weren't trained, you weren't afraid to make mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing too. Yeah. Really, yeah, just diving in and just I have a hard time with not saying no to anything. So that too. If you have an opportunity, just take it. That too. So yeah.
Well, again, thank you, Lilia.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Not a problem. I can't wait to see more of your art tomorrow. And thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. Be sure to tune in tomorrow at 1:30 Oklahoma time, where we'll bring you 7 artists. So we're excited to see you all. And for now, Wado.